Sergeant Hope.
Good morning and welcome to the Committee on Health. All members and staff, please turn on your video and please place all electronic devices to silent. Chair, we are ready to begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant. Good morning, everybody. I am Mark Levine, Chair of the City Council's Committee on Health, and I'd like to acknowledge my fellow Health Committee members who are with us this morning, including Councilmember Andy Cohen, Councilmember Bob Holden, Councilmember Alika Ampry-Samuel, Councilmember Keith Powers, and I believe that Councilmember Inez Barron as well, although, and there she is. Excellent. Thank you all so much for joining us today as we will be voting on pre-considered proposed introduction number 1961-2020, whose lead sponsor is Councilmember Richie Torres. This is a local law in relation to public reporting on contact tracing. New York City's contact tracing program is by far the largest and most complicated undertaking the city government has had to manage in this crisis. It is also incredibly high stakes. There simply is no safe reopening without this public health infrastructure in place. Contact tracing only works if the public buys in, if the public trusts this program and is willing to participate. That's why it is critical that we have full transparency and reporting throughout this process. That's exactly what Pre-Considered Intro 1961 would do. Specifically, it will require reporting on the number of employees and languages and zip codes of employees in the contact tracing program, the number of people identified by the program who have tested positive for currently having COVID-19, and the context of such people, disaggregated by zip code, race, ethnicity, gender, age range, COVID-19 symptoms, whether such persons have been referred to wraparound services, occupational setting, and comorbidities. And this reporting will be required on a daily basis. So I strongly encourage my colleagues to vote in favor of this bill. Thanks again to Councilmember Torres for introducing it. And thank you all again for being here with us today. And I believe now I can cue Committee Counsel Billy Martin to call the roll.
Good morning. William Martin, Committee Clerk. Roll call vote, Committee on Health. Pre-considered introduction, Councilmember Levine.
I vote aye.
Barron. Cohen.
I vote aye.
Councilmember Barron.
Why don't you go through the roll, Billy, and we'll come back to Councilmember Barron as soon as you.
Ampry-Samuel.
I vote aye.
Holden.
I vote aye.
Powers.
Aye.
Barron.
And we may have a bad connection with Councilmember Barron, but in the meantime, I see we've been joined by Councilmember Dr. Matthew Eugene.
We can hear you now.
I can't hear.
But we can hear you.
But she can't hear us telling her that we can hear her.
I know.
I'm texting right now.
I can't hear. I don't have any audio.
Billy, perhaps you'll take the vote from Councilmember Eugene while we try
Sure.
and connect to Councilmember Barron.
Councilmember Eugene, pre-considered introduction.
This is the Chief Sergeant at Arms. Councilmember Eugene does not have audio as well. We're trying to rectify the situation.
Okay, hello again, everybody. For those of you who are here for the Immigration Committee, that will be starting momentarily. We just need to wrap up the vote in the Health Committee. And I want to check if we have Dr. Matthew Eugene on and whether he's able to hear us. You are able to hear us. Can you give us a sign? Can you give us a thumbs up, Dr. Eugene? We know we have audio problems. Seems we've lost Dr. Eugene. Dr. Eugene, can you give us a thumbs up or a wave if you can hear me? Okay, it seems we have no audio with Dr. Eugene, unfortunately. And we are going to have to wrap up shortly to move on to the Immigration Committee. One more try. Dr. Eugene, can you hear me? If so, can you please raise your hand? Okay, it seems like we're having technical problems with Zoom this morning. So, Sergeant, I'm going to pass it back to you.
All right, so we are ready to resume. Again, for those watching on the live stream, we are having technical issues. Committee clerk, you could take it over. Councilmember Eugene.
Aha, Dr. Eugene is signaling a yes vote by raising his hand. Thank you, Dr. Eugene.
Acknowledged. Vote now on preconsidered introduction.
And excellent. Thank you. And I misspoke before. Next up, we have a vote in the Fire and Emergency Services Committee, led by Chair Borelli. And so I think we're now going to wrap up the Health Committee, and I'll pass it back to you, Sergeant, to bring in Chair Borelli for our next committee. Thank you all for joining us.
One moment, Chair Levine. Committee Clerk Martin. Just for the record, the vote now on preconsidered introduction on public reporting on contact tracing for COVID-19 is now 6 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and no abstention. Item is adopted by the committee. Thank you.